that comes here every year from time to time and, you know, heat up the road, then you know what Crossfire does. So you have an idea that Barbadian people have a little bit of heat. So if my voice is a little bit heavy, it is not because, you know, I want to scream at you, but that's just the way the Caribbean people are. I guess because of the sugar cane and stuff, it makes us a little bit sweet. Okay? When I came to Curacao about 13 years ago with $500 in my pocket and 500 watches. That's how I came to Curacao. You see, when I was 19, I started with a direct sales company from a company called DS Max in America. And the reason why I got into this company was because my father, we grew up in a very poor village in Barbados. I didn't come from a very wealthy family. And I always had a dream of becoming an entrepreneur, having my own business and making money. Unfortunately, my mother worked at a bakery for $150 a week, and my father worked at the University of the West Indies. Now, when you hear that, I like to use that phrase a lot. When I use the phrase, "he worked at the University of the West Indies," my friends at school would always say to me, "Yes, that means his father has education." But the truth is, my father worked just doing maintenance. He drove a tractor, he cut the plants. But, you know, at school I felt so ashamed to tell them, you know, that, you know, you felt ashamed. You're young, you're like that. You felt ashamed to tell them that, you know, my father was a gardener, because they would tease you. You know, so I used to use that as an excuse. However, when I was around 19, I had the opportunity to read a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's a book, if you've never read it, read it. You can get it free on the internet. You know, and that book changed my life. You see, when I grew up, I was a guy, I was very shy. You wouldn't believe that I would be making a living from speaking, because I was very, very shy. I didn't know how to talk to people, you know, and I got to even find out that one of the biggest fears that people have is actually to stand in front of people and speak. If I tell some of you, come up here and speak, you'll be like, "No, not me." You know, it's a big fear, you know. However, it's amazing that I'm in this. So when I joined the company in Barbados, I started in sales. I remember that I borrowed a tie, I borrowed a shirt, I borrowed my brother's shoes, I borrowed my brother's pants that he used to go to church so I can go for the job, because I used to play basketball. When I went for the job, I sat in the office and there was an American guy from North Carolina. He used to play NFL football, a big guy. And he's like, "Look, if you want to come in for the job," I studied IT, because my mother wanted me to study IT. I always liked business, but nobody in our family had business. Anyway, the first day was the day of observation. So they told me, "Okay, here's what's going to happen. You're going to go with this guy is your supervisor, and you're going to go out and learn sales and marketing." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." I came downstairs and I was looking for a car. I saw a big bag with a lot of products. I saw the guy put the bag on his shoulder, and the guy said, "Okay, we're going to the bus stop." I'm like, "What?" And I had on, you know, shoes like this, very tight, and the sun was hot. And he's like, "First thing, if you don't have an open mind to do this, you will never be able to run a successful business. You need to learn to sell. You need to learn to move products. You need to learn to talk to people. You need to learn to make money." Now, we can sit down in a classroom and we can show you all that stuff. You're probably going to get a certificate, but that doesn't mean you can make money. If you want to learn to make money, you got to go and meet the real world people, you know, go in the trenches and get the no's and get the negatives, and, you know, you're going to see for yourself. Anyway, I was open-minded because he said it was just a day of observation. So I went out and got my day of observation. It was tough, because on my form, he knew exactly where I had just finished school. So what did he do? He chose the area where I just finished school. So could you imagine that you just finished with all your diplomas, right? And you're going to get a good job in the office, and now this guy's got this big bag with all these products, peddling, we call it in America, they call it peddling goods. And you're walking behind him, and he's going exactly into the same school that all the teachers know you. And my heart started pounding, because it was like, "Oh my God, this is shame." All my old school mates, I was playing basketball, you know what I mean? Everybody knew me. You know, when I got off the bus, I'm like, "No, man, I can't do this." He said, "You see, that's one of the reasons why people fail in life. You don't even try and you give up already. But if you want to give up, go back, no problem. You're one of the many." That's why the 20% makes 80% of the money, and 80% makes 20% of the money, because they give up before they give themselves a chance. So the guy really knew psychology. Anyway, I followed him, we went to the school. He said, "Well, look, I don't want you to feel shame, so I'm going to introduce you as a supervisor." So I felt more proud now. So I gone in. "Bourne, what are you doing? What are you doing? You selling product? No, that job is not for you." You watch me. He said, no, that's he's training for supervisor. So he's not going to be selling like this. Anyway, one thing I saw though, the guy sold over $500 in products in that school. And he sold these products to people that he didn't know. When I was coming out, we started walking again to go to another business this time. My feet was killing me now because the shoe was tight. And I was like, no, Roderick, I can't do this. Like, this is too hot. He said, okay, before you quit, do something for me. Can you change 100 Barbados? Can you change 100 guilders for me? I was like, no. He said, okay, hold on. And he pulling up all this money. Can you change 50? I said, no. He said, you can change 25? You put the emphasis now. You can change 25? I said, no. You can change 10? I said, no, I only have bus fare to go and come back. He said, so what are you quitting and going? Where are you going? You're broke. There's nothing more shameful than being broke and don't have self-confidence. The guy was tough. But to be honest with you, it was hard, but it was the truth. I was broke. What am I going to go back home and do? You know, he said, look, make it through the day. The only thing you have to do is make it through the day. He said, I'm going to show you to make money. Anyway, to make a long story short, the guy went to all these businesses. My feet was blistered, everything. The guy sold everything. The guy sold close to 2,000 guilders in product. So the bag, that big bag, keep getting smaller. And I'm like, wow. We saw about 300 people that day. I mean, it counted the people in the offices. He was going into offices. And everybody knew him, and everybody liked him. And he knew how to talk. And he had no appointments with nobody. Many people close doors in our face too. And many people tell us don't come back on the come back. And many people tell us we are soliciting and we don't have the right to be in here. And at the end of the day, he asked me, can you remember all the people that tell you no? He said, that's it. It's not about who tell you no, it's about who tell you yes. You remember the ones that paid you? He said, yeah. He said, good. Now you learn your first lesson in business. Law of averages. The more no's you get, leads you closer to yeses. So yeses you want. That's how you separate yourself from everybody else. He said, we're catching the bus. Do you think most of these people made $2,000 today? I mean, no. He said, okay. It's not about the job. It's about profits. Anyway, so I joined the company and it was tough. I'm not going to lie to you, it was tough. He trained me for 3 years, for 3 days, how to sell on the street. Then he put me on my own. I went out, I sold, and that gave me confidence. The first time I made my first sale, it was a sale for like 50 guilders by myself. I can never forget the feeling that I had. Because for the first time in my life, I realized that I don't need nobody to make money. As long as I have any product, any service, any idea, any concept, and go to any country, any language, any nationality, as long as there's human beings and they can breathe, I can eat. You know? And that's the lesson that I got. So I came to Curacao because I traveled then for like 12 different Caribbean islands as a Salesforce troubleshooter. So the company started sending me around. That's within 6 months I really developed myself because I understood it wasn't about the selling, it was this part of the business. So I traveled and I trained. In total, I think when I finished with the whole company, it was about 2,500 salespeople I trained. Okay? And that was for the organization. So British Guyana, Trinidad, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and I was only 22 at that time. When I came to Curacao, I was 24. So when I walked in and I had 500 watches, and $500 in my pocket, it wasn't nothing new. The first people I sold merchandise to was the Duana. I'm serious, I sold them, because watches were duty free at that time. So I'm like, okay, come in. You check them out, you like them? Okay, good. You get 2 for the price of 1. 2 for the price of 1. Just because you're the Duana, you get 2 for the price of 1. So how much is it? I said, okay, normally one is $50. Give me one for 25, get the other one for free. How much do you want? How many sets do you want? No, give me 2 sets. You want 2 sets? Okay, what about for your girlfriend? You want a set for your girlfriend too? What about your wife? I'm serious, that's what we did. Went to Hotel Holland, same thing. Went to Hotel Holland, went to the bar, have a drink. I saw the guy, Fro, that has the Howard Johnson, but he was working for his dad back then. Right up there, sold 25 watches. Go to the casino, sold 25 watches. I mean, that's how we hustle. You know, the next day I met a contact person here. I found a place in Salina Harbor View. We had nothing in the apartment. I bought a bed from Goysko, an air bed. Blew it up every night for 6 months. Started on the road. I started to interview people for jobs. So I started looking for people for jobs. I mean, we had permitted everything set up, so don't get me wrong. And I started interviewing people in McDonald's. I didn't have an office. Office wasn't ready yet. You know, most people here on the island, they like to have an office and a car and all that stuff before you start doing business. But we didn't learn business like that. We learned business, you make money first, then you buy fancy stuff. So that's how we did it. And in less than 6 months, I had 25 people selling on the street. We did that first year, 850,000 guilders in sales. I took 5 people, we opened up Aruba, we opened up St. Martin. The first year and a half, we did 2 million in sales from 500 watches. Of course, my friend sent me a 40-foot container of merchandise. Okay, September 11 came. So I was living good in Curacao at the age of 24. Not gonna lie to you. Wasn't famous, still ain't famous, but we made a lot of money. September 11 came, and I got into the Curacao culture. Meaning happy hours, Larry's, eating, drinking, having a good time. You know, life was good. And I never thought that you could lose money like this. And when September 11 came, I had 4 containers in Miami. 4 containers in Miami, 40 foot, for all the islands. And America got shut down, and my containers stayed there for 4 months. Now, I don't know if you guys, if anybody here has business. If you got business, you know what it means when you have rent to pay. 5,000 dollars in rent. You have aquelectric to pay. You have workers to pay. Believe me, 150,000 dollars in savings is nothing. I'm not talking about cash flow. I'm not talking about revenues. I'm talking about even money you have saved. So I lost everything. And the permit to stay on the island, because I was the director of the company, even though I did it through a trust company, was also connected to the business. So when the business went down, my permit went down, so I became illegal. And I had 2 kids. And I don't know nobody on the island. Because most of the people that I met in happy hour, when I called them, you know how it goes. You probably mean, I'm there, I'm like, never till today. So I became depressed for about 1.5 years. Thank God I have a good wife, you know, that she stuck with me because I was broke. I mean, really, really broke. The only one that was calling me was Derwada. You know he's Derwada here? So probably you came by my house. You know? This is what was calling me. I'm serious. I was depressed. When you go from doing that kind of money in business to zero, it's not easy. In Curacao, for example. So during that time, something very important happened to me. I started to read a lot of books. When you don't have money, you have time. That's something I teach my clients now a lot. If you're broke and you don't got money, you got time. You know? And you can use your time. You can learn. You have the ability to learn. So what I did, I started to read a lot of books. Wasn't sure what I was looking for, but one thing I was looking for is how to make money without money. That's one thing I was always looking for. How can I make money without money? So I look at all kinds of get-rich-quick stuff you can get on the internet. And I didn't have my own internet. Sorry, I was walking down the road in Bourne, the neighbor's internet. When he goes to work, I was using his internet. And then sometimes I would catch the bus and go to the biblioteca, the library, and I read all kinds of books in there for free. You know? So I really got a chance to upgrade myself. And I will never forget, I'm so happy this gentleman is here. I went to him to help with my tax stuff, Jamali. And I was telling him about when I was going by the gym, how the guys would always ask me questions about sales and stuff like that. And 1 became 2, and 2 became 3, and 3 became 4. And there was like 15 guys coming to the gym. I wasn't losing no weight. Y'all can see I didn't lose no weight. But the guys was coming. So I'm like, okay, gonna be training. Must be something else that is working. He said, man, you crazy. The guys are picking your brain. They're taking all your knowledge and using it in their businesses. Why don't you charge them a fee? I said, charge them a fee for what? Become a consultant. I said, what the hell is a consultant? I don't know what's a consultant. I used to buy products and sell products. I don't know what is consulting. I don't know what's coaching. That stuff, I never heard about it. He said, okay, I will send you by some guys and, you know, see what you can do over there. So he sent me over there. He's the guy that really introduced me about this consulting stuff. He sent me to this company. They were giving training. I showed them what I did, my work experience, because remember, since I did information technology, I never had a job. I traveled my whole life doing sales and marketing and stuff like that. So when the guy saw my experience, they're like, look, man, you train all these people? Come in as a motivational coach. So they give me the title, motivational coach. Even that, I didn't even understand what it really meant. But they give me it. And they said, look, every time you come and talk, we pay you $100 to do the talk. And if the deal is good, we give you $150 for every hour you come. And I was like, okay, you pay $150 to talk. I like to talk. You can pay me $150 to talk. I go talk. Tell me when you want me to talk. I'm going to talk. I broke. I mean, you know what I mean? So that is how I started getting into this speaking stuff. And I remember one of the companies we had was Wacom Mascopay, and there was these Dutch guys. And I just came, and just like you guys are telling, I'm telling you my story. I told them my story. I told them how I came to Curacao, how I hustled, how I got broke. Somehow they like it. They paid the money. They signed a contract with $150,000 or something. They paid the guys to do management training, and they said, okay, but the Bajan guy has to come. We do the training, but you got to bring in the Bajan guy. We want to hear the Bajan guy's stories. We want to hear his stories. We like his stories. So there, I started getting some experience. And then I remember it was a Sunday that the team from Surf Fortuna had just went from Division 2 to Division 1. And they wanted somebody to do mental training. Now the guys that I was working with, they didn't want to go by these guys. They were scared. Now I am not from the island. I have no idea what is Zero. I have no idea what is Surf Fortuna. I have no idea who they are. So I'm like, look man, how much they pay? He said, $100 an hour. You're going to give an hour speech, you got $100. I'm like, cool, I'm broke, I need $100 send me. So I went, and when I got there, I was like, oh my God. I saw guys with, my wife was telling me, gold deep, big chin, rasta hair, sitting, their eyes look red. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? What I get myself into, and my papimento, you know, now it's a little bit better, but back then it was broken up, and I'm like, what am I going to do? You know, but like you guys again, I stand up and I tell my story. I just tell them, look, man, you know, I'm like you guys. We grew up in a poor neighborhood. I grew up in a poor neighborhood. I haven't robbed anybody, I haven't shot anybody, but I grew up in a bad neighborhood. You know what I mean? And I know what is the hustle. I came on the island, I hustled on the street. I'm sure you guys are hustling on the street. I don't know what happened. I see guys start crying. You know? By the time I finished the 1 hour speech, everybody get up and start crying. Mati, ongo brother, ongo brother, Misty Bongo, So we signed a contract for a year. And so many people don't know on the island, but I gave mental training to the team of Surf Fortuna for 4 years. So when they became champion of football, I was the one giving the mental training before the game, in the middle of the game, and after the game. Many people don't know that. I don't talk a lot about it, but that's the truth. You can ask anybody in Surf Fortuna, they will tell you. Meet any guys on the street, they will tell you. And from there, many of the people that came to watch the game started to ask, who is this guy? Who is the buddy giving this mental training? If this guy can help these guys, I got some of these people in my company. You know, that give me that kind of problem. Can he come to my company and help me deal with my employees? And so I start getting letters of recommendation, and people recommend me, and that is how from till today I keep doing my business. I started then with public seminars. I was in a program on TV 11 with Ryan Leon. He saw something I posted on Facebook a while back. He wrote, hey, if you're for real, come to Dushibita. So then I went on to Dushibita, me and Ryan hook up, and we started to do a little Dushibita stuff, and I was doing some positive stuff for 15 minutes on television, wasn't getting any money. That was another reality. I learned about television in Curacao. Most of the people on television broke. That's the truth. You know, they look fancy on television, but they ain't making no money. But you learn. You learn, right? Famous and broke, right? Okay. So when I was there, but you get exposure, and you know what I saw was that, hey, people are watching you though. You have the opportunity to sell yourself, sell your services, and build a name for yourself. So from there, I never forgot. The Chamber of Commerce was having something called Gigi Impressichiki, something like that. And they had a spot open, and one of the ladies there, Vanessa, had known my wife. She's like, hey, you know, I saw Rodney on TV. We got some space. Come on, let Rodney do his thing. Okay. So I went in, and first time I did it, I'm like, look, you know what? I'm going to talk about it. You have business owners and stuff. I was on TV Lab, and I said, look, business owners, if you're watching me on TV just doing, you know, come down to WTC. I'm going to be doing some great stuff in there. You know, 5 steps how to sell anything. You want to learn how to sell anything in 5 steps? I can teach you how to sell anything in 5 steps. Come down and I will show you how to do it. What was to my surprise when I got on there with me and my wife, they had about 43 people, business owners, waiting outside the room. The room could only hold 30. And nobody wanted to leave. And next to me was MCB, and the other one next there was Anya, and I'm like, and they were empty. And they're like, who is this guy? The people from the chamber came over. Who's this guy talking? Who's talking to them? And when they came and they saw it was the nobody Rodney, they were like, wow, what is he talking about? So what I learned from that, and I want to share with you, is the power of a headline. In sales and marketing, the power of a headline. Because the only reason why they came was not because of me. They came because of the headline, how to sell anything in five steps. That's why they came. They didn't come because of me. They came because of the headline. They came because of the message. Anyway, from there, I did my stuff and I said, you know what? I can do this by myself. I don't need to do the normal routines of trading and consulting that most people do. I'm not politically connected. I am not. So I'm not famous. So I had to find my own unique market. So what I did is I started doing my own public seminars. Still now, it's 8 years now. That's all I do. I do my own public seminars. I invite business owners to Avila, and I do my thing with these business owners. And some of them become my clients, and so I make my money. Have ups, have downs, but it worked out for me. Right? So I learned how to use my knowledge to start a business with no money. So when people tell me, for example, oh, you need money to start a business, yeah, it depends what kind of business you're into. But if you're flat broke, you can use your knowledge. Whatever you know, somebody wants to know about it. But sometimes we don't realize it. If you know how to tie your shoes, there are 1,000 babies going to born this year that don't know how to tie their laces. They don't know how to put on their shoes. There's the market. So one of the things that I came to find out over the years is that it doesn't matter how much you know until somebody else is willing to pay for it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? My grandmother, she made really, really good cake. But one of the reasons why she never became successful in business, I'm talking about business now, was because nobody knew that she made cake. And when I saw here about the objectives, I just love the objectives that you guys have. You know? Because for example, the first thing I mentioned here was you need to give. And that's one of the things that I learned. When I was on television, I wasn't making any money, but I was giving. So when the time came, and I said, look, come to my seminar, people came because I was giving. And what I want to share this with you is that if you're going to come to Kiwanis, come with something to give. Because one of the mistakes I see a lot of people make in organizations, they go to get. I'm going to join Kiwanis and get a connection. No, I'm being honest. Most people do that. And that's a big mistake. Because think about it. If I go to a Hoffy and I want to get fruits from the Hoffy, what's the first thing I need to do? If it doesn't have any fruit trees, what do I need to do? I need to plant. You gotta give. You gotta work the land. You gotta work the land. You gotta give some water. You gotta get it soft. You gotta put the seeds, and still there's no guarantee that you're gonna get a plant. And even when you get a plant, there's no guarantee you're gonna get fruits. And when you do get fruits, there's no guarantee you're gonna get the amount of fruits that you want. Right? But for how many years people keep planting? Because you have the hope, you have the dream, you have the aspiration, you have the belief that eventually that would produce. So the same mentality, if you have it in any organization, whether you're a business owner or you're an employee, the first thing you want to do when you come into an organization is come in full. I'll never forget the time when I married my wife. We were having some difficulties in the marriage. Everybody passed through this stuff. We can't stay here and don't talk about marriage. Because relationship is one of the biggest reasons why people don't produce well on the job. Quarrel in the morning, go to work, quarrel on the job, come back home, quarrel more, because it's double. The one from the morning, the one from the work, back in the house. Right, okay. So what I'm saying is this. What I found out that was funny was that I was going into my relationship with my wife trying to take. What's she going to give me? Instead of what can I give? And I'm not talking about money, because that's the first thing most people think about. I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about words. When I meet most people, one of the things that keep them back from happiness is words. You're using the wrong words. You meet the lady the first time, you tell her all the most beautiful things ever. You start sleeping with her for a while, guess what? All those words go through the door. You give the words to the outside, but you keep the other crazy words for the inside. And it happens also in organizations. You come in the first week, you're early. Second week, you're early. Third week, you're early. Till you get in. You get in, then you come late. Right? It's a habit. And what we don't realize is that you are planting inconsistent seeds. And if everybody keeps planting inconsistent seeds and giving inconsistently, it affects the whole organization. So that's why I love the first part here. Come to give. In everything you do, in my relationship, I tell my wife, whatever you give me is bonus. I'm not coming in empty. You cannot give what you don't have. If you go to the Bankomatico and you push in the card, and there's no money on the account, can you take money out? Okay, so if you're going to your relationship and you're not intelligently working on yourself, you're not upgrading yourself, what are you bringing to the relationship? Nothing. We call it in English a parasite. You just come to take, but you're not giving anything. Eventually, everything is going to die. You're going to die because you ain't giving anything, and the person is going to die because they don't have nothing more to give. So, coming into any organization, come in to give. Upgrade yourself. Ask yourself, what can I give to the organization that's going to make it grow so I can eat today, tomorrow, the next day, the next year, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. Very important. If you have a fruit tree, you're only picking fruits and you don't put fertilizer and you don't fork the ground, the tree will die. Nobody eats anymore. Very important. Encourage. I saw here you guys have a point about being, you have to encourage. I love that. That's why I'm standing up here. I contacted Shiomada. I said, listen, I want to come and give. I'm not getting anything. But I come to give. Why do I come to give? 5 months ago, I started suffering from panic attacks. Anybody here knows panic attacks? I couldn't drive my car. I started hyperventilating and crazy stuff. Stuff that never happened to me before. My wife was scared. I was scared. I swear to God I was going to die. They couldn't find what was wrong with me. Went to the doctor, they cannot find what is wrong with me. But I have a headache, tension, I can't drive, I have the nerves, all I can do is lie down and sleep, and everybody's telling me, get better, hope you get better, get better, hope you get better. It's nice to hear it, but it doesn't help you with nothing. And that made me realize something. That in life, the only way somebody will know if you really existed in Curacao is if you did something of significance. See, somebody will only know if you exist on this island, if you function on this island, is if you did something of significance. But you know what it takes? It takes guts. Let me tell you why it takes guts. My dad told me when I was 16 that I don't have brains for business. Right? I've been running business since I was 19. He told me I don't have brains for business because nobody in our family was good at mathematics. But that was his reality. Fortunately, I came across a book that taught me something different. And sometimes in life, we become our biggest enemy. When I meet most of my clients, one of the things I always tell them is get out of the way. Get out of your own way. Because a lot of times the thing that keeps us back from taking courageous steps is ourselves. We are scared. Scared to make mistakes. Scared for other people to give their opinion about you. And let me tell you something. If nobody right now is criticizing you, you're probably on the wrong road. Usually you get criticized when you're trying something new. And if you're not trying something new in this economy and you have a business, you're going out of business. And if you're not trying something new, you're working for an organization, the organization probably is not growing because they're not innovating. So you have a problem. So one thing you have to do is to confront your fears. In the Navy, what they do, they just drop you in the water until you swim. Drop you in the water until you swim. You want to swim, swim. That's how you do it. That's how you overcome fear. Just do it. I used to stammer. Can you imagine that? I made a living speaking. I used to stammer. How do you think I get rid of it? By speaking more. Stammering more until it stops. That's how you do it. You know how you lose weight? Some of you don't want to lose weight. Exercise every day. 3 things. Exercise, eat less, and rest. Right? But we all know it, right? Y'all probably know better than me, right? Y'all have all the books, all the diet books. Water diet, vegetable diet, fruit diet, all kinds of diet, right? But sometimes, why is it we know everything and we don't do what we do? You saw when they gave the introduction? It's not about how much you know, it's about how good are you at what you know. When I go to organizations, people know everything. They've been to all the time management courses. Have you been to time management courses? Till you get tired? Still trying to manage your time, but still can't manage your time? Making your to-do list and still can't get nothing done? Wishing the day was longer. One of the craziest things in the world, people always wishing the day was longer. Oh, boy. The day's too short. Right? Using words that don't motivate you. I want more money. A word I hear a lot of people use. What is more money? What does it look like? Anybody knows what more money looks like? Can you see it in your mind, what more money looks like? None of us can see what more money looks like. But if you say you want 10 grand, you can see it. 1 0, 0 0 0, 1 million. Brain sees numbers. But if you say more money don't exist. That's why you don't get more money. I want a good woman. What does a good woman look like? If you don't get specific, you will not be able to achieve these things. Is she tall? Long hair? Blue eyes? In shape? Not in shape? Nice calves? Sense of humor? Get specific. A lot of times I find that when people ask why they don't get what they want, because they don't even know what they want. You want, oh, I want a good car. Okay, what does a good car look like? What kind of motor? What kind of rims? What kind of model? That interior? What kind of sound system? You gotta be specific. I mean, these are the things that are important, because when you know these things, it gives you courage. Courage comes from the word called certainty. I was reading a survey lately. The reason why 90% of people fail is because of uncertainty. Like right now, if you ask anybody, I've trained more than 500 business owners in my seminars, and most of them always tell me the economy is bad. Everybody says it. Because the newspapers say, and they sell a lot of newspapers. That's why they say it. They're not saying it because it's bad for them. They say it because it's good for them. The more I tell you things are bad, the more newspaper you buy. Right? Because you want to see what bad things really are. It was bad yesterday, probably it's worse today. So they sell more. Nothing wrong with that. They're doing business. But the question I always ask people, is it bad for who? I have clients that I work with that increased their sales last year by 42%. And I'm like, they're not suffering. But if you go to them and you ask them, how's business? What you say? You know, because why do you think they're doing it? Because if I got money and you don't got money and both of us go to happy hour, I don't want you to look bad. So I'm gonna cry with you. That's what they call empathy. Most people in the market are empathetic. You're crying, I cry too. You ever see people at the funeral? You crying, I cry too. But that doesn't mean that I'm hurting. And that is something we have to